Rachel has over a decade in various real estate roles and 4 years in direct affordable housing development at Hacienda. Project manager, she leads development projects from initial feasibility through design, funding, construction, lease up, and completion while navigating complex community relationships. I like that. Legal and compliance, zoning and land use, and federal and local layered funding sources. She serves her community as co-chair of the local chapter of ULI Young Leaders. Can you mind telling me what ULI is?
It is the Urban Land Institute.
Very good, thank you. Awesome. Leaders group and chair of the Lake Oswego Planning Commission. So that's a good position to have.
Yes,
Very
yeah,
timely.
it's been very fun.
Eric, do you want to just?
My name's Eric. I'm an associate project manager at Hacienda, trying to follow in Rachel's footsteps. So.
Awesome. Okay, feel free. Your floor, as they say.
Great. Give us just a minute to get set up. We brought some renderings for everyone so you can see what the eventual plan will be for our development. And we are still missing one person from our property management company, so hopefully she is on her way shortly, that she can answer more questions regarding the leasing of the property, fair housing, things like that. So thank you all so much for having us. Are we good on the recording?
Yeah,
We're live?
we're all
Okay.
good. Yep.
Just want to make sure that we're not cutting anything off.
Nope.
Thank you so much, Erin. Appreciate it. We'll try to stay in frame here. Well,
Okay.
thank you everyone so much for inviting us here this morning. We really appreciate how engaged the Lake Oswego community has been as a whole during the entirety of this project from the very beginning, before Hacienda got involved and the city and Metro were doing the rezoning for the site to make it affordable housing. So we have been part of this from the beginning. We responded to the RFP that the city and Metro put out. We were selected by a committee as the lead developer. And who all has driven by the site and seen? Okay, so it is, if you haven't yet, it is just down Boones Ferry here, a couple blocks, and we are at about 50% construction. So this is our rendering of what it will look like when it's completed. It will be 55 units of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom housing for people making between 30% to 60% of the area median income. So Lake Oswego, the average house costs $1 million, and this average median income is for the entire Portland metro area. So Lake Oswego is very far on the other end of that. And that is why we are looking to build affordable housing here. And we've heard that there's some interest of business owners wanting housing for the workers that you all employ. So that is something that I am very passionate about, that the labor of the workers in the community, that they can still live in and enjoy the community that they are part of creating. So this project will be completed in January of 2027, which sounded for a while like it was a ways away, but that is 7 months now. So it will be online very soon. I think Carrie, nice to see you. Carrie here is with our property management team. So they will be beginning our leasing up process in the next couple of months, and she'll have more information to share with you all about what that process looks like. We do have an email that you can sign up for that's just a marketing and communications email if you want to stay informed about what the next steps are to share with your employees. Before I go further, are there any questions that folks have?
What's the name of the project?
Thank you. The project is named El Nido, and that is Spanish for the nest. It was inspired by the peacocks in the area. They have not been bothered by the construction at all. They are very actively on the construction site all the time. So we really loved the symbolism of tying in something very local, but also the idea of like a home and a resting place. So we are a Latino-led community development company. That means that we name all of our buildings a Latino name. We offer bilingual property management and resident services. However, our properties are open for anyone of any background to live in and enjoy.
So I read in the paper that you were suing the city over a land use code environment thing.
Yeah, we are not suing the city. We are doing a title cleanup action.
Okay.
So essentially, this piece of land is very old. It has a setback covenant from 1922 on it that says that we are required to have a 25-foot setback from
Okay.
Boones Ferry Road. And unfortunately, the inheritor to that covenant is every single person who is also on the original plat of land,
Okay.
which is a group of, I believe, over 300 landowners in the neighborhood. So no one is being required to do anything, no one is getting any damages or awards from that. It is just a judicial action that we have to take to clean up our title with that setback, which is in conflict with the city's zoning of a 0-foot build-to outline. So the setback isn't even legally enforceable, but we have to clean it up for our title insurance.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Are there any further questions on that? I know that's a lot of legal.
Just what school district would what school would you go to in this location?
Yes, so it's Lake Oswego High School, and then I believe that I can't remember exactly which middle and primary school it is, but they are the Lake Oswego School District. Yeah, they'll be at the same one that my nieces are going to. So when I think about the kids that'll live here, I'm thinking about my family as well and how they're affected. So this is also personal for me. Thank you.
Can I ask one more clarifying question?
Yeah.
My understanding, back to the legal action, it's not actually changing your design. This is just
No.
something that we probably were planning from day one of a cleanup that needs to
Yes.
occur during this process. So this is,
Mhm.
we've been getting at the city a lot of questions about
Yeah.
this, and it's not changing anything, and we knew that
No.
it was coming.
Yes, it hasn't been exactly from day one, but it has been ever since the very beginning of construction. And taking this legal action was at the recommendation of our internal counsel, of land use council, and also at the agreement of all of our funding parties. So it's not jeopardizing any of our funding or timelines. So.
Megan, can I ask, is there any other parcel that would have the same kind of stipulation?
I don't know.
I think they do. I think.
I mean, it depends on
Yes.
the specifics of the
So-
easement, whether it was specific to the site, but it's part of the overall plat.
It's part of the
so-
Bryant Acres Plat 3, so if anyone is a part of that plat, which is the 300 people that we have sent notice to, they likely have that same setback on their title, and their title insurance probably just didn't care
Would this
about it.
de facto change the reality across the board then, or no?
It doesn't change anything because it's so
Yeah.
old, it's just a cleanup
Yeah,
activity
it's-
that needs to occur.
Yeah, it's unenforceable, so most people wouldn't care unless it's a $32 million public investment, so, yeah. All right. Carrie, do you want to talk a bit about our lease-up timeline and process?
Yeah, hi Ray, my name's Carrie Wright, I work with Northwest.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
can.
so please. I also have a handout that I'll pass along.
Do you want me to pass those out?
Oh, sure, thank you so much. That's a property flyer, and then on the second page, there's information about the, lease-up process, application process, and how to apply, and all those qualifying parts. So Carrie Wright, I work for Northwest Real Estate Capital Corporation. We're a real estate company that mainly manages and owns and develops affordable properties across 8 states in the US, mostly Northwestern. So we have been given the opportunity to help lease up El Nido. We are starting, so we can essentially move people in starting January 2027, that's when construction is over. We start the leasing process about 6 months prior to that. We open the wait list, we notify everybody, all the public, that we are now accepting applications. After that, we move on to qualifying people. That process is lengthy, and it could take up to 2 weeks of the time of someone applying to the time of qualifying. So I can go into a little bit of detail of like what things people need to qualify. This kind of housing, it's tax credit housing, so they require income and asset verification. The only identification somebody needs is just photo ID. So the ID part is less of a barrier, but the income part, people just have to provide like pay stubs and other things like that to prove their income. It's very accessible housing in the fact that we only require 1.5 times the monthly rent to qualify. So it's not one of those properties that you need to be able to show 3 times the rent, so it's not a barrier for those that need it. And then there are income maximums that people have to be under to qualify, so it is income restricted. And then that income minimum, again, is just that 1.5 times the monthly rent.
And I've got our income tables here. I figured that might be a question people have. So for occupancy standards set by the state, it is 2 people per bedroom plus 1 additional. So maximum 3 people for a 1-bedroom, 5 people for a 2-bedroom, 7 people for a 3-bedroom. And at the 60% AMI level, that income ranges from $53,000 for a single-person household up to $95,000 for a 7-person household.
And that, sorry, that's on the back side of that flyer that you have in front of you, so I listed it out, 1 through 7 people, because the 3-bedroom max is 7 people, so it's on the back of that
So
side.
this is the maximum income they can have to be able to qualify.
Correct, and that's per household size, so it goes up per additional household member. So if it's a 2-family household, you'll follow the 2-person income limit regardless of unit size.
And a child is a person, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's why there's that +1 thinking of like, oh, if like there's 2 people in a bedroom plus they have a baby.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so we do have a couple units that are set aside for more deeply affordable. We have 10 units that are set aside for the Housing Authority of Clackamas County for referral. And then we have 10 units that are at a deeper 30% income restriction. So for people who are really what we consider very low income, ranging from $26,000 per year for a single person to $50,000 per year for a family of 7. And those units will be on just a first come, first serve basis for those who qualify.
So are these rates adjusted annually, yearly?
Yeah, they typically have an annual rent increase. I'd say what I've seen is usually between 3 to 5%.
Okay.
And that is regulated by the state of Oregon. So they tell us how much it can raise each year. For instance, during the pandemic, they told most people no raising rents for a couple of years. Yeah.
So is that based on changes in the AMI in the area, or is it just, okay?
Yeah, they publish it every spring, what it can be.
Can you describe, you mentioned the referrals, and I see it here on the handout, what is that? What is referrals from Clackamas County, what is that?
Yeah, so that was part of the RFP that came out, a desire to have some referral units for permanent supportive housing. So that is people who are exiting homelessness and need to come in with additional supports. So we have a a behavioral health provider new narrative that will be coming to do additional support and work with the people referred in from those 10 units so that they can continue to be housed successfully. And that is going to be 5 1-bedrooms and 5 2-bedrooms. We wanted to make sure that there were opportunities for people who especially had families coming out of homelessness.
How does the behavioral health provider supply supports? Are they on-site or?
Yes. Yeah, they have a contract that is directly with the housing authority, that they are having services that come every week, and we kind of right-sized it to have a full-time person there, so that's why we've got that number. 10 units is about what they needed in order to have someone there full-time.
So full-time means they live there or they're there 9 to 5?
9 to 5, yeah. Though we do have the property management unit on site. So the property manager will always be there. And we also have Hacienda's resident services team that is also going to be there on site, providing services for anyone who lives there that are, say, connections to healthcare, connections to transit, help getting groceries, help getting your children enrolled in school, language learning, and a variety of other supports that folks might need.
And that's 24 hours a day, or that's 9 to 5?
9 to 5, yes.
So the 24-hour a day, that's real estate Northwest Capital?
Yeah, so the property manager had El Nido built in a property manager's unit, so that person will live there and then be available after hours in the event of an emergency or what have
So
you.
your relationship with Clackamas County or Hacienda, they're on speed dial?
If we needed
Yes,
to be,
if
yes,
there's a-
essentially, yeah.
Well, I mean, I just know that there'll be incidents.
Yeah,
of whatever kind, and it might not be 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah, of
That's
course,
the
they're
idea.
available after
Yes.
hours, we,
Yeah, the idea being that the on-site person is who people in this room would contact, talk to,
yes.
because we're gonna get connected and people are gonna ask us questions about.
Yeah, and then
what's
we'll
going on.
coordinate the communication between
Yes.
Hacienda resident services and new narrative, whenever it's needed, after hours or during.
Yes, if there were to be any danger to life or property, absolutely, like, immediately call 911. That is your first step, but if it is a more general concern that isn't causing immediate danger, Northwest Real Estate, the property manager, would be the people to reach out to first. They are the ones that are handling things day-to-day with residents, and then if needed, they can escalate it to our asset management department.
How many parking spaces do you have on the property?
38.
38?
There's 38 parking spots on property.
Plus our off-street ones, right? We
Yeah,
have about
there is.
6 or 7 off-street.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
does that mean off street?
So let's see. Right here, on Sunset here on the south side where the parking or where the sidewalk is, there will be a couple spots where people can park right there.
On the street?
Yes.
On the street.
Yes, so currently there's parking on the other side, but as this isn't built out yet, there will be designated parking spots right there.
Is it gonna be someone's call if the parkers impede traffic on the street? How do people handle that?
I would call probably not the property management, but I would say someone at the city most likely would be the people to call if someone's parked
Is there a time limit or
illegally or
permits on that
improperly.
street? Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know?
Right now, there's no rules or regulations about how.
I know that we're having some issues, this group is full of business owners, right? And we've had some issues with some of the contractors parking inappropriately.
yeah,
And so I know that this group would be interested in hearing who they should talk to about that.
yes. So specifically for construction, we know that they are not supposed to park at any local businesses, and our general contractor, Polis, also knows. That said, throughout construction, various different teams come on at different times, and it's possible that message just isn't making it down the chain all the time. So what I would do is if you see anyone that's clearly working on our job site that's in your space, just come over to the job site. There is a trailer on site, and 9 to 5 during working hours, our project manager and foreman are there and with Colas Construction, and you can just tell them one of your guys is parked here, can you ask them to please move, and they can identify it.
So
Yeah,
in
it's
January of 2027, when do you expect full occupancy to be?
Yeah,
completed?
so we are thinking it'll probably take 5 months for the building to fill up based on the demand for the area, and also based on what Northwest has told us is a reasonable timeline to expect.
Are there any parking spots that are designated or assigned, or is it all open?
It is open, but we do have a couple spots that will have EV chargers, so people will be able to park there if they have an EV. I know that sounds a little weird for affordable housing, but there is a state law that requires us to have the whole thing be EV ready now, so we have to put in all the infrastructure for it, thinking, you know, maybe 40 years in the future, everyone will be driving an EV, who knows? So we were able to get some grants to put in a couple of the actual EV chargers now, so that's why those are there.
Do you know if the TriMet cuts, how they're gonna affect the site?
I don't know, that's a good question. I know that they've been proposing a very large cut, and there is not a lot of public transit in Oswego right now, so yeah, it's something that we're definitely keeping an eye on and staying in conversation about.
Yeah. Have you thought about ways to actually move residents from your site down to the TriMet hub down by the freeway?
Not, do you mean through like a shuttle service or?
Yeah, if there's no bus service.
Yeah, that's something that we might be able to work with some third-party providers for. I know that we have it at other properties, work with different people who do mobility and connection services. So yeah, definitely creative ways that we can do that.
That leads me to a question, how, one of the things that's a key, at least to me, is this idea of what services are gonna be offered after all residents have moved in, and you mentioned that there are some. How tailored are they to the needs of this
Yeah.
particular resident, this particular group?
Good question. They are very tailored. So Hacienda is a fairly large organization. Real estate is just a small part of what we do. Our team of 4, and Hacienda is a group of 50. So our largest department is our Youth and Family Services department. So we do after-school programming for children, STEM education, financial literacy for all ages, scholarship programs, small business incubation, home lending, getting people ready for that next step of home ownership. There's always something that I'm forgetting. There's so many things we do. So we have a really robust business model that offers multiple different services, and we always want to figure out first who's living here. We can take our best guess, but until the property is leased up, we won't know what the needs of this community are. So that's where our resident services coordinator that I spoke of, who's connecting people to the services they need, they're the ones who are looking at the community and saying, oh, they really could benefit from this service, this package, this experience that we offer here at the property.
So trying to make sure I understand this idea that we have an interest as business owners in having a place for employees to potentially reside. If an employer wants to get a customized service, they talk to the 9 to 5 Hacienda person that's on the site. And then
If
they
you
create a
want
relationship
to
with them.
come to the site to do
Yeah.
a service,
Well, just to develop, like, for example, to Larry's point, hey, look, I've got an employee that wants to live there but needs to get to the transit. Gee, let's talk about, can we
Yes.
generate a transit shuttle
Yeah.
or something?
yeah, the resident services coordinator would be the one who can work on that
And
for
that's
their
Hacienda,
community.
not Northwest
Yes.
Real Estate.
Yeah, that is our internal staff member.
Okay. I got a question for you. What kind of issues what's a routine list of the top issues, the positives and negatives that you guys see? Because you said 8 states.
Oh, yeah.
So what are the kind of 2 or 3 things that you see as
Oh,
issues? going on?
Carrie, sorry, can you?
Yes, I was trying to move out of the way for the
Yeah.
poster. Good question. I mean, it varies very heavily depending on the property, the demographic, and the area. I can speak to the positive first. I mean, so many times we see people coming in from homelessness that this is the first stepping stone to sustainable housing and first of many steps of, their success overall. It's amazing that Hacienda and New Narrative will be there to provide resident services. That wraparound service is what makes it successful. Property management cannot take the credit alone. Property management's role in just building out sustainable housing is in partnership with resident services. If we have an issue with a tenant, a lot of times it's rent. We're living in hard times right now, so people can't make ends meet sometimes. Property management, fair housing says we have to treat everybody the same regardless of the situation they're in. So if we lease violate, let's say for funds past due, we just bear arms with resident services and make sure all parties are on board to get the residents whatever assistance they need to make sure that they can sustain and be successful in this housing. Sometimes, the negatives, it doesn't work out. We can lead a horse to water and help them as much as we can, and some people don't take the help, and that's the unfortunate side of this business. But there are more successful stories in this industry, especially when we're partnering with resident services. It's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
How much experience does your property management company have with behavioral health and housing units?
Mm-hmm.
Are they different ones you're managing now have the same component in there?
Yeah, it's actually a very up and coming. A lot of the newly built properties have like the 10 set aside referrals for wraparound services and stuff like that. We have a lot of experience. A lot of the properties going up require that service to be provided. So we do have experience. It's more in like the Portland metro area. So yeah, we're very, very good with it. Our staff takes training and stuff to be familiar with the processes and how to bear arms with resident services to make sure we're all on the same page with the residents. So, yep.
Is there a social worker assigned to the project?
Social worker, no, not on our end, no.
Yeah, so that would be the behavioral health with New Narrative. They are what's the licensure? It's a qualified mental health provider, I believe, is what the designation is. So the social worker might be someone that they are working with before they come to the property, that is maybe the person who helped them find this housing opportunity, got them connected to the housing authority. So whether or not they still work with that social worker would really be up to them, but that's not a piece that we interact with once they get to us.
So there isn't somebody assigned to this project?
We have the New Narrative providing the behavioral health. Yeah, I think maybe, I'm not sure if we mean the same thing when you say social worker and I say behavioral health provider, so I don't want to mislead you, but I think that might be the same thing that we're saying.
I feel like a social worker is more encompassing than just mental health, but I understand.
Okay.
So go ahead. Let's go one more question. Go ahead.
It's in terms of just outside, say people volunteering for tutorial stuff coming in, is the community room and other facilities used in that way for outside adults coming in to help, say kids and stuff?
Yeah, it's purposefully designed as a flexible space. So we have a projector, AV equipment, we have a spot for like board games, so furniture that can move around and be configured in different ways. There is a kitchen in it as well. So the idea is that maybe one day someone can be doing a workshop or a class in there, and then maybe the next day someone is holding a birthday party just for their family that the residents are doing. So it's really like a multi-purpose community room. And then we do have, one of our offices is a little bit bigger, so if someone needs to have a more confidential conversation with their family there, that is also a space that can be used by the residents.
Do you have an emergency response plan for a Cascadia event for the facility?
You know, I will get back to you on that because I imagine that our asset management team has something like that. That's not what I'm a part of, but I'll look into it. I know our office has one.
I see, I'm in,
Yeah.
Hacienda, it's in our neighborhood association, and I know we've been working on an emergency response plan. It's a large group of families, and even
Yeah.
Cascadia that will need help.
That's great that you're planning for it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Just out of respect for people's time, if you need to leave at 8:30, feel free to leave. If you guys have a couple minutes to hang, keep answering questions, just so. And you have a couple.
Well, I just had a comment more about the parking thing, trying to connect the dots. Parking is an ongoing issue, and it's been that way for decades,
Yeah.
Unfortunately. 7 people in a 3-bedroom, 38 parking spots. I don't know about car ownership rates and all of that, but that seems like it's a recipe for issues.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more of a heads up comment than anything else, because parking is an ongoing issue here. And it seems like this is set up with the ingredients for that issue.
Yes, it's not a perfect site, I will say that much. We tried to squeeze in every last bit of parking that we could fit and still comply with the zoning code for the city, for green space requirements, for being able to get the fire truck in and have access to the building, and to get the number of units that were required in the RFP. So I agree, it's a challenge and it's not a perfect
RFP?
solution. Oh, sorry, request for proposals. So it's the formal process of putting the opportunity out that multiple, I wanna say about a dozen developers responded.
Thank you.
So my last comment, because I've been doing a lot of talking, is I'm almost clear, but I'm a little fuzzy. So Northwest is on site all the time, and your asset management group is available to, I mean, where does somebody go in the circle? I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah,
how
so,
that, in the
so,
future,
yeah.
where do we go?
So property management, they're the boots on the ground. Every property has property management there. And then asset management for us is one person or maybe 2, we're expanding, that is in charge of every single property that we have and every single property manager. So they are the ones who are essentially internally to Hacienda managing Northwest.
But to confirm, if there's a parking problem with the residents once it's built, or one of the businesses just needs to get a hold of somebody, they get a hold of the property manager.
Yeah.
And that's where they start.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, asset management would be more if there was like, say, I don't know, maybe like a legal issue of our tree is encroaching on your property and we need to trim it up or something like that, then that would be more of like a asset management thing. But as far as day-to-day operations of the property, it would be the property management team.
And then they could always put it up the chain if it's not
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure this group would love to meet that person once they're hired.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes,
We're
'cause
planning-
we'll start doing that soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say we're gonna be recruiting for the property manager probably around August.
Yeah, so if you know anyone who
Yeah.
is a property management, we'd be looking for someone who is bilingual, then yeah, please send them our way.
So, question, just to be clear, you're advertising 38 parking stalls, you just mentioned that 2 of those are gonna be EV. So people that are not driving EV cars actually have 36 spots to choose from.
They could still park in the EV spaces, it's just there is an option if someone has an EV vehicle, they need to charge, but it's not reserved exclusively. Yeah, and with a property this size, and we are expecting a lot of children, that was a part of the request from Metro was the family-sized units. So we aren't expecting things like multiple adults in a household. We typically see our properties to be about 50% adults and 50% children.
Do you have one-bedroom units, or you said you have two? Okay, so
Yeah.
how many one-bedroom and how many two-bedroom?
I wrote it down
Oh,
because
it's
I
in
knew
there.
I would
Okay,
forget.
that's fine.
Okay, so we have 28 one-bedroom, 28 two-bedroom, 5 three-bedroom.
And you have not started taking applications or anything yet, so 55 units are open.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes, they are.
You said there was an email people should sign up for, or how do they sign up? Is that on here?
Yeah, so it's gonna be on the front page, right here, let me, thank you, right here. So it's just general elnido@nwrecc.org, that, I am currently monitoring that inbox, so all questions and inquiries come to me for now. Once I recruit, that will be passed on to who we hire. But any questions, if you're interested or have somebody that's interested, they can send an email to that email now. And we'll make sure that when we open the wait list, we send them out the application and all of that.
I think she mentioned, I think it was right before you got here, that there was like an e-newsletter that people could sign up for just to get news.
That is that email.
That's that email.
Yes,
Okay.
so anything that will be like, the wait list is now open, or property is officially opening this day, that will blast out to everyone who's a part of that email.
Great.
Yeah, so you could sign up for Hacienda's specific website email as well, but that is, as I said, we do a lot of things. You might get overwhelmed by all the different stuff going on. That email is only for this particular property.
Megan, I have a question for Megan. So with more people on the street in that area, could there be a trash receptacle as part of the right-of-way landscape? That would be part of the city's pickup?
I have no idea. Let me check it out. Right.
So whoever gets picked to be the property manager person, do they typically come on a monthly meeting to groups like this so that there's communication going on with dialogue, or do they not do those kinds of things?
I've never been asked that. I'm open to that. I don't see why not. I think it's good to keep everybody involved and, you know, communicating about the property. It's gonna affect everybody in a different way.
Well, it's my expectation that, I'm just gonna say for a period of time, hopefully shorter rather than longer, there's just gonna be getting to know everybody and getting to see how this works, and having got dialogue going, kind of avoid and address.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we can implement that, yeah. I can come with.
This is the first time that I have seen the chamber reach out to us and ask to be in dialogue, which I think is wonderful and is very, very much a testament to like how tight-knit Lake Oswego is, that we all want to be in communication with each other, be good neighbors to each other. So, new territory, but I'd say we're open to it.
I'm volunteering Larry, who's on the Arts Council. He's gonna get a sculpture of a nest to replace it.
And Matt, that plaza looks like a nice wine pouring location. Next year.
We're open to all options.
I love the brick design.
Thank you. We originally had a different exterior on this, and then we had a community engagement meeting. We invited the neighborhood association, some other local groups, and they said that they did not like the original white that we had at all. So this changing it to the brick was a response to the community, that everyone said we want it to really look the same as the other buildings and really blend in with our community. So that was a change that we were able to accommodate with the code and with our design, and that's why we engage early, so that we can incorporate that feedback.
Are the balconies on the other side? The little
Yes,
Juliet
they
balcony?
are on the long side, and they are Juliet balconies. Regarding the art, we are in the initial phases of sourcing or commissioning art. So if anyone has connections to large format sculptors that you would recommend, also please send them to us.
So you've been in contact with the Arts Council?
Yes, we have.
And they can help you connect with the rest of
Absolutely.
our community?
Yes, we've talked to them, we need to re-engage them and sign their contract, but Eric will be working on that.
Will there be an opportunity for an open house before you open to the public, or not really the public, but the residents will be kind of like, hey, come and walk through or something to the surrounding area?
Well, we are.
I'd love to host it.
We are about to start planning our lease up. We usually start that conversation when a property is right at the stage it is now. So that's actually a meeting that Carrie and I have tomorrow to begin planning. So it's certainly something that we could incorporate.
Might just be a nice way to get
Yeah.
everybody in there and say, oh, okay, this is, this is what the building looks like inside.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. We have sort of a woodland inspired theme on the interiors as well. So wrapping in again that nest concept.
Nice.
And is it a secure building?
Yes. Yeah, outside entry is secure at every point. There are cameras all throughout the building at every hallway, every common room, every entry and exit point. It is as secure as we could make it without it being secured in a formal sense.
Is there a play area? I'm not seeing
Yeah.
your.
It doesn't show it very
Does.
well in the rendering, but this triangle back here
Okay.
where we are keeping those significant trees has a nature-based playground, so like some natural rocks and logs that are set up in a way that children can play.
Has there been direct communication with the adjacent property owners to date?
I don't believe so, unless it has been with our GC. I believe someone brought over a barbecue for them to use, so it's
So
just.
for example,
yeah.
when you made the comment about the play area, that's a business sitting there in that office building next
Mhm.
door. And just having dialogue, they may not even be aware, I like to think they are, but there could be kids playing outside their window, so to speak. Just having some communication about that so that they're aware of it first of all, and then they know who to talk to.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden rocks get thrown at their building, for example.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Yeah.
just making that up, but the point simply is just
No,
having.
kids are kids.
Right.
I think that's a great idea, by the way.
Thank you.
Is there an outside area for like barbecue, a hangout, like a patio area?
Yeah, that is, so just up to the north here, Resident Plaza, in the orange here, there's like some seating, there's a couple barbecues. It's sort of a hardscape plaza that is just, we didn't want it to be up on the main street. And then also our community room is this whole space right up at the top.
And does that open up? It's on the lower floor?
Yeah, there's like a big like garage style windows that roll up so that it can open out onto that plaza.
I think you've exhausted them. Congratulations.
Really appreciate it. I'll leave these up here if anyone wants to come get a closer look, especially with the questions about the site plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think the meeting's adjourned, as they say. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you all next month.
In July, what is the
July 7th. Wow, huh? Pulling that out of the sky. Congratulations to me.
If I had